check. It's hard for me to tell. So YouTube is better. Mic check. It's hard for me to tell. Ooh. Getting some double audio. Check, mic check. Mic check. So YouTube is better. Oh no, it's just the audio. Mic check. Unfortunately, we just have that on, so double audio. Check, mic check. See if we switch this around. Mic check, hello? Can you hear me? No? Okay. We're gonna have to do it like this. Let's try the desktop.
Let's just imagine that you are burning 3,000 calories in a single day. The majority of how you burn your calories is through what's called your B.
Unfortunately, we just have speaker feedback. That's the big thing. Check. See if we switch around. Mic check, hello? Let's try the desktop. Yeah, it's quiet.
I burn my calories throughout the entire day. In this example, let's just imagine that you are burning 3,000 calories in a single day. The majority of how you burn your calories is through what's called your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. This is your body simply just being alive. This makes up roughly 60% of your daily caloric expenditure. Now, in the case of
Okay, mic check.
case of burning 3,000 calories.
Mic check, mic check. Mic check. Why isn't this pulling up? Okay. Mic check. Hello, hello, hello. Mic check. It's trash. You want multiple feedback sources. I need audio in order. We're going to do.
do I burn my calories throughout the entire day? And this
Okay. Hang on. I don't know why I would even know. So I'm not. Okay, we're live. Hello. Hello. Mic check. Oh, hello. Hello, friends joining me. Sorry, I'm trying to get this thing organized and my mic sucks. But thanks for watching. Yeah, I just got to echo your mic. Okay, I'm gonna have to go for this.
example, let's just imagine that you are burning 3,000 calories.
Okay, so okay. All right. We'll come back to this later. So if you don't, oh, you're all gone. Dang, I actually had some viewers for a second. But for the others, for the recording. So you don't actually burn calories is the first thing. But let's try to reimagine 3,000 calories to what? Got to be something on the gram standard. So it'd be gram units of protein, fat, carbohydrate. I don't think I'm writing this big enough for everyone to see. First off, let's go here. This switched up. Of course. Okay. Can you see it? Come on, camera. Focus, focus, focus. You can't really see it. Okay. You know what? Okay. Okay. Back to the board. Hello. Hello. Hi. So I said we are gonna do this tonight. I'm really trying, guys. I'm just very new to all this. Okay, so I don't know about any of these. Up there. The camera's supposed to be muted, and I know that's where I'm getting my feedback from the video device, but I muted it. Try and remute it. Okay. I did have. What did I do with my markers? Oh. A fresh set of. Oh. Okay. Gray for color. Okay. Go-tos. Oh. All right. So what we're going to do today is we're going to convert calories into an actual measurement. So let's try this marker. 3,000 calories. Page into. That one is. What color is this? Chisel. Chisel. Brown. Ooh, I like that green. It's a good green. Grams. Protein. Dietary. Okay. Fortunately, my mic is absolutely garbage, but we're trying. Can you see this? Not even close. Think about lighting. There. That's a little bit better. More direct lighting kind of helps. All right. You read this. It is. It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. Okay. Lighting tricks. Okay. Just soften it a little bit. It's still bright as hell. But we're gonna do 3,000 calories into our grams of protein, carbs. At least we're going to talk about this theory. So, because we're going to talk about the words that we're going to be using here in this model. So let's check it out.
In a single day. The majority of how you burn your calories is through what's called your BMR.
Okay. So I gotta get home. So how well does this show? Not very well. Problem is, I just think this. Yeah, it still works. Okay. You know what? I think it just works if you just blind it even better. We're just gonna blast it. Just gonna light blast myself. We're doing it for science. Okay. So, I'm going to convert this to G R. This is still true, even with the gram standard. So basal rate. So running out of ink. I'm gonna leave that here for now. Ooh, that one's enough. Okay, so most energy comes through your basal metabolic rate. Your metabolism, just normally processing things. That is true.
Your basal metabolic rate. This is your body simply just being alive. This makes up roughly 60% of your daily caloric.
Okay. So, that should convert over into using. Okay, we are here. Okay. 60% calories basal metabolic rate, just being alive, should still convert into like 60% of your energy is needed, or 60% of the food you eat, of the acetyl, because this is acetyl. I can't spell. Acetyl. Acetyl with the Tyl. So 60% acetyl needed being alive. Okay. So acetyl, we are alive. If you're just joining, thank you for joining. We're going over this, and we're going step by step, changing calories into this gram standard.
Expenditure. Now, in the case of burning 3,000 calories in one day, your BMR is going to burn about 1,800 calories throughout the entire day. The next highest portion of how you burn your calories is through something called your.
I just had to make sure that that was
your
60%.
Non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
Okay, so this is one of the things that I got a problem with. Neat. Non-exercise exercise activity very clear. It says, no, I want to be very clear, and I don't even write very clear. Okay. Thermogen. I can't spell. No, it was right with E. Okay. So I really want to break down this word, thermogenesis. And so this is really divided into two words. Thermogenesis means heat. Thermogenesis, create. So of this, NEAT should look at non-exercise activity that is creating heat. Like specifically, this would relate to body heat. And so before we get any further into looking into how NEAT is described in exercise science literature, just based on the title itself, we're going to look into what NEAT should be studying based on this scientific interpretation of this. We're looking at the create body heat, what thermogenesis should look at. I'm going to slide this over here. Thermogenesis. Thicker. Sorry for all the rattling. My whiteboard rattles. Okay, so this is, and we are going to be like, I know we're highlighting everything on these words because we're getting specific. It's just what we're doing. Oops, sorry. We should be on the other filter, but non-exercise activity. Just to kind of want to check these different flavors. See on screen. How does that orange look? So, if you can see, it's thermogenesis, heat create, heat generation, body heat, non-exercise. That's what we're talking about. And so it's important that we use clear titles when we're talking about things that we're doing. Perfect. All right, good. And so with this, so just based on the name alone, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, we're talking about static thermoregulation. So basically how, I was going to write it, I'll write it as the question. How do we maintain body temperature with exercise. That's what NEAT should be investigating. How we non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And so we're still, this activity could be a little bit vague. And so I know how they're using it in NEAT, but this could go one of two ways. One, we'd be talking about cellular activity, or we could be talking about like macro / movement of like activities of daily living, basically. And how they mean it is activities of daily living. And so without exercise doesn't mean like it means just like how you would be normally living your daily life. So let's see if this works. All right. So non exercise activity to activities of daily living. Activities of daily living. Classic model. So processing, thinking about this for a second. So this is non-exercise thermogenesis. So we know when we work out, we generate more heat. So that's usually due to a rise of ATP production, circuit reuptake, and friction of the muscles. So with exercise, thermogenesis increase with ATP use increases with ATP. Not as much with ATP production now. That's like actually the opposite. Get into that in a second. Serve. Basically, that also because it's ATP use. Exercise thermogenesis, circuit reuptake, and action. Issues. Okay. So, activities of daily living, thermogenesis. Activities of daily living thermogenesis will be minimal from muscle movement. Because that's like the idea. It's like it's not being generated by the force, so it's very minimal. And so it's really going to be from static thermoregulation. So static thermoregulation in mito. See, and so that's like the static thermoregulation is from the electron transport chain. And it's I got some documents here. Let me use up real quick. Okay, let me get this. Hang on. All right. Change that so I can get that off my head. All right. So we're right. Okay. Let's see if I can find this real quick, and then I'll pull it in. Let's fix the camera. Let's say. Okay. All right. So, I could just do it from here. Hang on. See, all that mic noise from the camera shouldn't be there. It's bugging me. That's why we're getting this double feedback. Okay, so thermalization and thermoregulation in the body. Static. How about static thermogenesis? Non-shivering static muscle contractions. Resting muscle mechanical activity. So yeah, so this is what we're doing. Static. Isometric thermogenesis at rest and during movement. A neglected variable in energy expenditure in obesity predisposition. Isometric thermogenesis as applied to human energy expenditure refers to heat production resulting from increased muscle tension. Most physical activities consist of both dynamic and static actions. The isometric component is often essential for optimal performance of dynamic work, giving its role coordinating posture, standing, walking, and most physical activities of daily life. So this is part of the problem, is that it's assuming thermogenesis coordinates, right? No, it's the muscle action. The isometric component is very often essential for optimal performance of dynamic work. Isometric muscle action, not isometric thermogenesis. And so this is the calorie problem, because calories assume that we move from thermomechanics, but we don't move from thermomechanics. And that's part of the problem, because this is all just based on that assumption. And so pertaining to body weight regulation, because we think this adaptive thermogenesis resting muscle mechanical activity. It's a better maintain body temperature to do we get the full do said it was free. Okay. Non-shivering. Okay. because I'm talking about mitochondrial static thermogen. This is interesting. Okay, this is something to consider. These are getting so confusing. Okay, we still got this, but we'll come back to this. Because yeah. Yeah. This is what I'm talking about. Mitochondrial thermogenesis is the process where heat is generated by the mitochondrial respiration in living organisms. Thermogenic mechanisms that maintain body temperature have been studied extensively in fat cells. Little knowledge on how mitochondrial heat may act beyond energy expenditure. Here we highlight the exothermic oxygen reduction reaction. I think that's enthalpy of the main source of the mitochondrial heat that reached the nucleus initiated the classical heat shock response, including the formation of nuclear stress. Well, I guess it's not well studied about it then. And it's like this kind of stuff. Mitochondria of all tissues convert various metabolic structures to ATP and heat. Historically, the primary focus of research production of mitochondrial thermogenesis receives less attention. Nevertheless, mitochondrial production is critical for maintenance of body temperature. So this is technically on a cellular level, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And so this is what I'm referring to too. And something to know about this is that this doesn't generate as much heat as this proton leak. Mitochondria produce heat as a result of the leak. Okay, free text. Okay. Adaptive thermogenesis have attracted much attention because the ability to increase system energy expenditure, counter obesity and diabetes. Recent data indicated thermogenic fat cells use creatine to stimulate substrate cycling. See, that's the most important thing, is substrate cycling at the end of the day. Dissipating chemical energy as heat. See, yeah, we're using chemical energy. And sometimes during that reaction, chemical energy becomes heat. Oops. Oh, I hit the tissue nonspecific alkaline phosphate. Regulates heat shock. This one we just read. Chondriostatic. Of is an inescapable consequence of the biochemistry of oxidative polarization. It is homostatically maintained as a primary feature of mitochondrial metabolism. It's pretty good. So, let's get back to this, I guess.
This takes up roughly 20% of how you burn your calories throughout the day. This is all of the activities that you do that is not planned exercise. Think walking from your car to the store and walking around the store. Think going up and down the stairs, or all of the chores that you have to do throughout the day. It's going to burn roughly 600 calories. Next on the list is the thermogenic effect of food.
Okay. Gotta hit him with the flip. Wanted to check it out. All right. So we're still assuming some. I know I'm not spelling things very well, but work with me. So I think I'm going to be editing this. Okay. Okay. So assumptions. Thermogenesis equals G. I'm even going to draw an arrow on this. Maybe I'm even going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Or they're trying to say that this goes both ways. This can either go like thermogenesis is what is our energy expenditure, and our energy expenditure is our thermogenesis. Because I'm saying something different, and it's going to be very specific. What I'm saying, energy expenditure directly leads genesis. Saying just kind of like how that other study was saying real quick, this is the result of chemical reaction in general. Just heat is just a byproduct of chemistry and a lot of just mechanical action. Heat just seems to be like a universal byproduct of work in most cases. And so, but that doesn't mean that the heat drives the work, right? Because this energy expenditure is work. So the point is work creates heat. Work conditions. So, energy energy expenditure creates thermogenesis. What I'm saying is work creates heat. Is essentially, that's kind of like what Joule was saying, like the mechanical equivalence of heat, is that work creates heat. But heat does not drive work in this case, biological work. Logical. It's clearly heat drives work in a combustion engine, which is like how calories are based on, which is the assumption that we also use it like a combustion energy, but we don't. We use it much more like a battery. A battery also generates heat, but it doesn't do it in the same way a combustion engine does. It won't create the same kind of mechanics and dynamics. You need a whole different system to understand a battery than a combustion engine. And that's what I'm saying. Our body is more like the battery than it is like the combustion engine. And so using things like meat or the thermogenic effect of food doesn't make sense. The idea that metabolism drives heat as well is true. But again, if we're trying to measure, if we're trying to increase the amount of heat in order to increase the amount of metabolism, that's a bad way to look at metabolism and what food is doing. We want to create the right kind of demand for the right kind of chemicals. We need the chemicals to be used to even create the heat anyways. So it's really about this chemical usage. It's about this material exchange, which is what I'm trying to talk about. It's not about calories, and it's not about exercise thermogenesis. It's about activities of daily living and the chemistry that is needed in order just to normally maintain body and biological form. It takes a lot of resources to maintain biological form, and those resources are what gets used for your food. And some of that work, while it's being used, generates heat. And so protein is used in basically everything. And so it's used in other things besides just making acetyl. So protein does way more the quality activity and heat. So it's an increase in activity that creates an increase in heat, but it's not the increase in heat, you know. That's kind of like a non-starter, I guess, but very nuanced, very nuanced. But we don't need to worry about the thermogenic effect of food. Because essentially, what we're saying is just like how is the food being used. So let's go back to this real quick.
This makes up roughly 15% of your daily caloric expenditure, coming to about 450 calories. Since food is a complex structure, when it gets broken down, your body has to burn calories in order to digest it. Protein actually has the highest thermogenic effect, so that means if you eat roughly 100 calories from protein, your body's going to burn about 20 to 30 calories simply digesting the protein. And last on the list, only at a...
Body burn calories to metabolize in the digestive process. Aerobic, we have again extracted calories are a thermo effect. So burning calories to metabolize is better if we say sources to takes resources to metabolize the food. And where do we get those resources? We get those resources from nutrition. Cool. So it takes resources to metabolize, not doesn't take it. In terms of it takes energy to metabolize stuff. Where's the energy coming from? It's coming from the nutrients and from the enzymes and from. But remember, enzymes aren't like a huge process. Enzymes are just protein chains. And so it comes from the molecular structure of these things. So the energy comes from the electromagnetic pressures and how the chemistry works together more than just this idea of energy in general. Because calories is just trying to mask this idea of energy with a big statement when we can get much more precise when we're talking about how things are used with resources. So for your daily energy expenditure, it's like, yeah, you have your basic metabolic rates to keep your body alive. You do have your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or your, what was it, static muscle mechanics, or resting muscle mechanic activation, which I bet you is a lot higher in people who are fit. And so that way, when we're doing this equation and you say that last 10% is,
Simple
or the last 5% is
your
exercise, is actually
thermogenesis.
is actually like what sets you up for your NEAT and your BMR. So your exercise, well, in the immediate might not burn a lot of calories, is specifically like there to set your body up to use more energy and metabolize more resources and use resources, allocate resources better is really the correct answer with exercise. Like it teaches your body how to allocate resources better. And so if you want to use more resources, you got to teach your body to be more sourceful.
This is your planned exercise, your time spent in the gym physically actually exercising. This is you purposefully going for a walk. This is you doing any amount of cardio. This is exactly why it is so hard to outwork a bad diet, because the amount of calories that you burn throughout the day through your exercise is so small compared to everything else that you're doing.
Yeah, it's about setting up your body. That's why this is like why athletes are so much better, or like usually in better shape. It's because their bodies are set up for more. Their bodies are set up to use more resources in their metabolism. It's not about burning; it's about using resources and telling your body how to use more resources. And so it's kind of, let's get into this kind of thermogenesis. Okay. Because it's like I'm drinking hot coffee, right? I'm increasing my body heat, but that's artificially. Category error, or it's not a, it's a classification error. It's a titling error. Isometric thermogenesis. Get this camera right. Yeah, that's good. It's about thermoregulatory thermogenesis and adaptive thermogenesis pertaining to body weight regulation. According to Lou, hey, we're back. We're back at square one, boys and girls. And so, if we're doing Lavoisier life as combustion, by turning down the rate of heat production during energy deficit, or turning it up during overnutrition. controversy, yeah, for the past 100 years. Yeah, I mean, nowadays is whether adaptive thermogenesis even exists or not, which is what need is based on. I kind of think is I am this whole thing. A quantifiable entity in the yeah. Hypothesis-driven mechanistic research which contributes to the advanced knowledge of human metabolism. Blah blah blah. Blah. So yeah, it's people are debating if this is even real because it's still based off of Lavoisier's life as combustion. So it's easy to make something sound good. Heat production resulted from increased muscle tension, isometric thermogenesis. Sure. Thermo and adaptive. Yeah. This is the reason adaptive thermogenesis to body weight doesn't work is because that focus is incorrect. Um, which reflects a lack of willpower. In favor. One can see what kind of regulation changes from you find it. Yeah. Adaptive thermogenesis is non-existent during overfeeding. May lead weight loss may lead to adaptive thermogenesis. Disclose the existence on weight management outcomes. Cool. Well, point is we're trying to tie it all too closely to heat when some things create heat and some things don't create as much heat. Trust me, it's difficult. wonder if it's like I'm trying to do art just to make everything make sense, because we got to get away from this completely. And we went from philosophagen, and like if we just go from our origins of modern physics, we develop a much better model. I really want to look up more neat, honestly, like how this tries to explain things. Real thermogenesis. Mechanism that regulates neat. That's again assuming that weight loss and thermogenesis are directly related. They're partially related. So failure to activate neat result in ready defecate. It just means resting muscle mechanics. Remember, that's what we're checking out. Make effect. We'll get into that. Let's sign up for that. Read this. Read this. All right. No, BRB.
Does your internet bill keep getting higher? That's because promo pricing is full of surprises. At Google
Your father knows about saving money. Everything I'm wearing, I've had since boot camp.
And I just saved on my car insurance for driving safe with USAA.
Auto insurance that flexes with you.
Fit to fit.
That's what we're made for.
1, 2, 3, yeah.
When looking for the perfect card to reward your appetite for life, look no further than the Amex Gold Card. Discover new tastes, gather new experiences, and earn 4 times membership rewards points at restaurants worldwide. Find out how to access over $500 in annual benefits value on select dining and travel purchases. Elevate your date night, family outing, or solo experiences, and make every meal more rewarding with the Amex Gold Card.
All right. Thanks for waiting. Kind of figured out two things. Sorry, I'm listening to Big Tug. But so I kind of thought about two things. Number one, I shouldn't attack this directly. I like what I shouldn't try to find like a one-for-one replacement model because not everything is going to be one for one. Like because some things are just misinterpreted, and so I can't change a misinterpretation into something real when it's going down the wrong path. So like things I thought about like energy expenditure is poorly defined because we use it as terms of like weight loss, but it takes energy to fire nerves, and like I'm not even talking about the using before we use ATP to recover the cycle. Just the action of the nerves firing requires energy. So these are just poor definitions at the end of the day. And so we're going to use better ones. And we're going to start that way. And it's going to be figuring out how to get this acetyl together. And it's like, yeah, activities of daily living. We're going to talk about it from the physiology side. I think it's just the best way to do it to go forward is to like start from the beginning and do it all again. Like talk about what energy is, where it comes from, how this works in the body, and then go from there. And because if we just try to go thermogenic one for one, it's not going to be the best, I don't think. I do want to check this out. Topic is definitely not gaming. Fitness. Save. Has it always been into gaming? It should never have been in gaming. Okay. No, thanks for the likes, guys. Appreciate it. I cannot even. There we go. Should it be into education? Probably should be into education. Fitness and sports education. I'm leaving it. Just don't think this thing works well. Anyways. So. So they measure the oxygen use. That's good. Supine means laying on your back. Sitting. Okay, and then the problem is then they convert the use of oxygen. I got to get better at indirect calorimetry. Indirect calorimetry. Fuck. Oxygen and carbon dioxide they produce. Yep. Like this is still an accurate measurement of like metabolism. Just so we're directly measuring what we should be measuring. So it's frustrating that we call it indirect calorimetry, but that's nice. Non-nutritional calories, cost. Yeah. Yeah. All energy is converted to heat, so it's like these things, man. Okay, I think it's difficult for me. Oh, you didn't even see all the stuff I was looking at this whole time. I'm looking at like stuff like this, like indirect calorimetry, metabolism. Um, I think it's like I said before. I think it's going to be difficult for me to try to convert everything into like take it from where it is and then try to make it into like remodel it till it gets to where it needs to be. I think the best way is going to just be from the origin, talking about energy, and then understanding it more, and then getting into different measurements and different theories of measurement, simply from the idea of without any calories, or the idea that thermogenesis is not a one for one relation to heat or to body weight. Of course, it's related to heat, but body heat isn't necessarily measuring body heat doesn't encompass all measurements in human energy, is essentially the theory, the thesis that I'm pushing forward with modern nutrition, with materials nutrition. I still like to call it materials nutrition more than anything. But when you count light as part of it, and if we're talking modern physics, then this is materials or particle nutrition. Um, I guess then it would be material nutrition is without light, and then particle nutrition is with light and with like more quantum mechanics. Um, and then one step over that is material nutrition, I guess. And so we're going to change this. Okay. And some whiteboard wipes for sure. Oops. I'm going to leave that. This is what we're going to do. I'm not going to try and convert. Okay, simply going to take start straight. Electrons. Electrons. Let's understand street physics. We're going to have to take it from here. So basically what we're doing here is we're going to study all of this and the physics behind it. Sound fun? That'll be hard. I'm kind of feel like I'm getting lost in the sauce. And so electrons, protons, neutrons. Let's get started. I already know where to get started. I'm gonna do just like the key. Yeah. So it's like this. Elemental biology and inorganic in addition to organic. We are going to take Save this to a This is pretty much what I'm talking about. Okay, so we are going to learn. To start, we're going to learn elemental biology. I'm going to see if this, or if the mic just cut out right there. I'm just trying to see if this works, because then I'll have not so much voice mess up. Hello, 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 hello. Yeah. Elemental biology, molecular biology, biochemistry. And inorganic and organic. Okay, cool. So let's start with elemental biology. Yeah, molecular biology didn't even exist until the late 1900s. That's good to know. Should be oxygen sponge. 10 metals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The halogens. The oxygen family. Okay, so 10 metal elements essential. Hydrogen. Take. There's okay, cool. That's easy. Now, this does raise a question. What is baby blue green? Okay. The baby blue. What? And then it's like the halogen, chalogen. Chalok, chalochin, chalo, chalcogen, chalcogen. All right. Let's see where else these guys go with this. We don't use nickel. Now that for other forms of life. Uncertain rule about chromium. RBSR. To be that. Sorry, it's right next to it. I'm so dumb. So I'm using the essential. Bioelements, biometals. Good place to start. There's evidence for evidence of absence. Okay. So we learned this. Already learned. So this is basically Harmonics. Mhm. Yeah. So it's like, so we're measuring all of energy expenditure. We're not measuring the zinc energy expenditure. Huh? Specific. Call it a day.